Hi! Welcome to the third module of our course. This part of the lecture will discuss the comparative features of the digestive system. It is essential that you have a good background in gross veterinary anatomy to appreciate the structures to be discussed. This module is divided into 4 video lectures. In this part of the lecture, we will basically compare most of the structures of the oral cavity. The digestive system is composed of 2 parts: the digestive tract and the accessory glands. The alimentary tract extends from the mouth to the anus. It involves all the organs where the food ingested is passing from one segment to another. On the other hand, the accessory glands include the salivary gland, the liver, and the pancreas that are involved and participate in the digestion of food. As different animals have different feeding behavior as well as their diet, modification in the digestive tract is very evident. For instance, there is a huge difference between the morphology of the digestive tract of herbivores and carnivores. In this module, we will highlight the major differences in the anatomy of the digestive tract as well as the accessory digestive organs of the different domestic animals. At the end of this module, each student should be able to identify the dental formula of different domestic animals, compare the anatomy of a simple and a compound stomach, identify the modifications present in the small and large intestines of different domestic animals, and compare the appearance of the salivary glands and lobation of the liver and pancreas of different domestic animals. Let us begin with the lips. The proportion of the mouth which opens varies between species depending on the feeding habit. As observed, animals that use their teeth to capture their prey, as in the case of carnivores, opens their mouth wide enough to accommodate the food, while in herbivores, on the other hand, a small opening of the mouth is enough. The lips frame the opening of the mouth and form the rostral and parts of the lateral borders of the vestibule. They are used for the prehension of food and for communication purposes in other animals. The form of the lip is determined by the diet and the feeding habits. In horse, the lips are used for collecting food and introducing it to the mouth. Thus, they have a mobile and sensitive lips. Cat uses teeth and tongue as prehensile organs. Thus, lips are less mobile and reduced. The lips of dog can be drawn back from the teeth to signal aggression and form an important factor in the communication, but are incapable of food intake. The wide gape is made possible by the caudal situation of the angles of the mouth and the correspondingly short cheeks. The upper lip is pendulous and presses on the lower one. The general looseness of the lips creates a large vestibule, an advantage in administering liquid medicine. Cattle and pig have less mobile lips, and note that the upper lip is modified. The extensive, moist, and glandular nasolabial plate is found in cattle, while in pig it is called the rostral disc. The insensitive lips of the cattle, together with the backward-oriented papillae on the palate and the tongue, explain why they are prone to swallow foreign bodies. The upper lip of small ruminants, like the goat and sheep, is divided by a median groove called philtrum. This philtrum is also present in dogs. In birds, the lips are absent. Their jaws are modified into beak. Beaks are used for prehension and for aerodynamics. It can also serve as a sense organ called the bill-tip organ via the sensory corpuscles embedded in the keratinized tissue of the beak and associated lamellae. Gallinaceous birds, like in the chicken, have pointed beaks, while Anseriformes, like in the case of ducks, have flattened, spoon-shaped beak that is somewhat more flexible and is adapted for straining through water for foodstuff. Next, we move to the palate. This is the roof of the oral cavity. It is composed of a rostral bony part called the hard palate and a caudal musculomembranous part called the soft palate. The palate separates the respiratory and the digestive passages in the head. As we recall, the hard palate is formed by the processes of the palatine, maxillary, and the incisive bones. There are around 6 to 10 paired elevations called palatine ridges or palatine rugae crossing the hard palate transversely. The median raphe is the median elevation that divides the palate into right and left halves. Different animals have different modifications in the hard palate. In dogs, it is widest at the level of the fourth cheek tooth, and the median raphe is usually replaced by a ridge. In cattle, the cranial portion forms the prominent dental pad. This is the modification in the upper dental arcade of ruminant in relation to the absence of the upper incisors. The rugae extend only 2/3 of the length of the palate, and all but the last few are serrated on their free borders. In sheep, the rugae are not serrated. The openings of the nasopalatine blacks form a prominent V on either side of the central incisive papilla. In horses, the hard palate is divided into 2 equal portions by the median raphe, and the palatine rugae extend the whole length of the palate. Pig has a long and narrow hard palate with equal width throughout. Both rugae and median raphe are well marked. The incisive papilla is prominent anteriorly. Please note the location of the incisive papilla in domestic animals. Hard palate is also present in birds, but they lack the soft palate in contrast to mammals. Note that there is a big slit. This is the bird's choanae. The choanae connects the oropharynx inside the mouth with the nasal cavity. Thus, there is a lack of separation of the oral and the pharyngeal cavities in birds. Differences in the tongue can also be observed among domestic animals. In dog, the tongue is wide, thin, and mobile. The dorsal surface is marked longitudinally by a median groove. The ventral part of the tongue contains a rod-shaped fibrous body, the lisa, which lies in the median plane. It extends from the tip to the root of the tongue. In cat, the mucous membrane of the tongue is very thick and highly cornified with numerous conical papillae. This papillae is important for the grooming behavior of the cat. Pig's tongue has a narrow and pointed apex as shown here. In large ruminants, the caudal part of the dorsal surface has a prominent bulge called torus linguae. Cranial to this is a marked depression called the transverse lingual fossa, on which has a tendency to collect food. This is a potential portal of infection since the epithelium within this fossa is easily damaged by sharp objects. In contrast, small ruminants lack torus linguae or is not prominent as what is present in the large ruminant. The tongue of the horse is shaped like a spatula and is strengthened by a cartilage within the dorsal part of the tongue. There are 2 distinct valate papillae on the posterior part of the dorsum. Avian tongue is known to have the entoglossal bone. This makes their tongue hard and less movable compared with the mammalian species. Now let us compare the dentition. Most of our domestic animals are diphyodont, meaning they have 2 sets of teeth, a temporary or deciduous or the milk teeth, and the permanent teeth. They are also classified as heterodont, meaning the teeth are classified into incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. Here is the temporary and the permanent dental formula of different domestic animals we are studying in this course. Please note that the molar teeth are absent in the temporary dentition. Likewise, have in mind that birds lack teeth. It is also important for you to know the commonly used naming of teeth in the practice. This is called the modified triadian system. It provides a consistent method of numbering teeth across different animal species. As you can see here, the oral cavity is divided into 4 quadrants. Numbering starts at the right maxillary followed by the left maxillary. It continues at the left mandible and finally at the right mandible. Teeth in each quadrant are counted in hundreds. For example, The medial incisor or the first incisor of the right maxillary is named as 101. The tooth named 304 is the canine tooth of the left mandible. This naming is more efficient in identifying the specific teeth. Now let us discuss the dentition of each animal. In dogs, the total number of teeth is 42 as written in the dental formula. Take note that there is a difference between the number of the molar teeth in the upper and lower dental arcades. Being a carnivore, they have a robust canine teeth as shown here. The upper fourth premolar and the lower first molar are termed as the carnassial teeth, which bear 3 roots. In ruminants, one of the modifications is the lack of incisors in the upper dental arcade, thus they have the dental pad. They also lack the canine teeth in the dentition. Interestingly, they have the most numbered lower incisors, which is 4 in one side of the lower arcade. In general, there are only 3 incisors per set. In horse, the total number of teeth varies depending on the presence or absence of the upper first premolar teeth. This is also known as the wolf tooth but is normally absent. The teeth of the horse can be used in aging the animal. A detailed activity on this will be discussed in the laboratory part of this course. Among domestic animals being studied in this course, pig has the highest number of teeth. They have a complete set with a total of 44 teeth. In piglets, the needle teeth refers to the pig's deciduous third incisor teeth and the deciduous canine teeth. These are often nipped off in the newborn pigs for the sow's benefit during suckling. Tusks refer to as the canine teeth of wild pig. The lower tusks are larger than the upper, and the bores are larger than the sows. In contrast to the pig, cat has the least number of teeth with only 30 in total. The incisors are small, but the canine teeth are robust like in the dog, typical of the carnivore dentition. There are 3 premolars in each side of the upper dental arcade, while only 2 premolars in the counterpart lower dental arcade. There are only 1 pair of molar teeth in both arcades. And that ends the first part of this module. You may now proceed to part 2, which will discuss and compare the salivary glands, the esophagus, and the stomach of different domestic animals.